All right, I'm going to make a recording that goes from our first draft to expanding our draft. So hopefully, I think most of us, I was looking over Brightspace, and I think a few of us are still outlining. And I was able to move the due date, but we are going to, I'm just going to watch class and see who all, gets finished with the essay by the original due date. And if you would like to move on to the annotated bibliography, you can, or if you are taking if you need just a little bit more time if you need a little bit more time to continue to work on the advertisement argument, there is about a week here, wiggle room next week to where, again, if you need some help, then if you need a little bit more time, there's a little bit of extra time, or you can take it, or you can move on. Anyway, so let's get on to this tutorial. I want to first talk about, let's see, where am I at? Why is that even open? All right, I want to go to here's the prompt, and I want to get to this particular part of the prompt, which is at the very end, we have the MLA part of the prompt, right? So we want to make sure that as we are expanding this into our full essay, as we are finishing up, that we are using our quotes the way that we need to, because part of this essay we do have some MLA requirements as part of this essay. So we do have MLA requirements as part of this essay. And so some of these MLA parts, so this is, again, if you don't know where I've got this, you go to content, and you can go to the assignment prompts. And then here are all the assignment prompts. They're also under the week that I assigned them. You can just go to advertisement argument essay prompt. And at the end of it, I like to just expand it here, but at the end of it is the kind of the built-in assignment that we've talked about. And that is that MLA assignment. So we're going to get into where is this built in? Where is this also built in to expanding my essay? So we want to make sure that we have a quote that ends in the mid-sentence. We want to make sure that we circle back to the same quoter. And that just simply means that we can look at our commercial in the same way, or in a different way, or we can look at we can also have our song. And now if you're having a hard time with your song or whatever, I don't know what happened here, but anyway, sometimes things go from PDF and whatnot. But anyway, if you're having a hard time with your song, then you can just do an example in the discussion board with your song. I'll make a spot for that, and I'll make sure that I get that updated. So you can just say, hey, I'm having a hard time getting my song in there. Some students are doing an amazing job, like getting their song in there. I'm going to change the prompt a little bit to when we're writing this essay, like if students, the advertisement argument can be more of a not cause and effect, compare and contrast between a commercial and a song, and as to what does it do with our ethos. And anyway, so I'll work on helping students get that song in here, because it is kind of important for the meaning of this essay. But anyway, it's really fine. So we'll move on if you're not able to get your song in. I have a few students who are having a hard time with that. Not a big deal. But we have circled back to the same quoter. We have to have a specific example. So we want to make sure that we're using a specific example from our video. So if you use a specific example from your commercial that we're going to talk about here in just a moment, then you can check that box off. If you have that blend and one of your sources ends mid-sentence, we're going to check that off, right? At least one blend, we can check that off, signal verb. So we're going to kind of go through, we're not going to go through the works cited page because I don't have it built, but how do I check all these off? How do I make sure that I'm also going to do well in the MLA assignment that's built into this essay? The reason why it's built into this essay is because MLA is difficult, and I want you to earn those points. I don't want it just to be the last few percents of a rubric, right? It's difficult, and we want to earn those points here. So that you can earn those points. All right. So let's look at this idea of expanding my outline or first draft into a larger draft and what that looks like. So this is really important. I have the Bass Pro Shop commercial. That's the one that one of the ones that I've used. I have a whole lot of different commercials that we have here. But one of the ones that that I've used here is the Bass Pro Shop commercial. Yeah, you're more than welcome to go back and watch it. You're more than welcome to go back and watch it while you, sorry, husband's driving me crazy. You're more than welcome to go back and watch it before, you can pause this and open up a new tab and watch the commercial if you want. So it's really important that you begin your introduction with yourself, right? It's really important that you begin with your personal stories, even if you just want to begin in third person, even if instead of saying I, you can say young adults, even if, if you want to say, again, if you want to say like, instead of saying I went fishing with my grandfather, you can say many young men, go fishing with their grandparents, something like that. But you want to make sure that you begin with yourself. You do not want to begin. So here's the example introduction, right? You do not want to begin by saying Bass Pro Shop aired a commercial during the Super Bowl in 2022 or whatever. You don't want to begin that way because you are going to have a hard time. You might have a hard time expanding your paragraphs and making your essay very well-rounded as you go. All right, so let's begin with ourselves, right? Let's begin with fishing with my grandfather. Again, mine would be with my brother. That's what I said earlier in my class. That's what I said in my class earlier. Like I went fishing a lot with my brother. I didn't go fishing with grandparents and whatnot, but we went fishing a lot just with my siblings, and my brothers and sisters and I would go fishing together. Anyway, right. So I want to begin with my own story. Begin with I went fishing with my grandfather, and then transition. So it says, then we transition into our commercial. Lastly, we write our 3-point thesis. The Bass Pro Shop commercial takes me back to that memory. The commercial uses a voiceover, scenery, and cultural issues to express their outdoorsy ethos. So you're more than welcome. I'm going to upload this to Brightspace. You're more than welcome to, use that. You're more than welcome to use that 3-point thesis. And then I'm going to go so I have my introduction, and then I'm going to go through describe my commercial, right? The Bass Pro Shop commercial begins with, it was aired during, just a quick description of the commercial. So I have my introduction, and then I'm going to describe my commercial. This is number 1. And hopefully we're past that. So that's number 1, number 2. And then my body paragraphs. I want to begin, for some reason, I'm seeing students have 4 and 5 body paragraphs for some reason. And as in they're just doing more than the 3 descriptions of their, commercial, like they're describing this and they're describing something else and describing something else and describing. And so we really only want 3 body paragraphs that begin with a point that relate to our 3-point thesis statement, right? So I do have, that's kind of something interesting that I'm seeing over and over again right now, are students with more than their 3 body paragraphs. All right, so let's begin our 3 body paragraphs with a point that relates to the thesis statement. I'm reading this right here. All right, so all 3 body paragraphs, we want to begin them with a point that relates to the thesis statement, then relate the commercial's ethos by answering how and why the commercial is expressing its ethos with our pathos, and I did examples here. And then we're going to talk about, now we want to lengthen our body paragraphs to go from our original draft to a final draft. We want to bring the intro back into the points, use specific examples, a blend, use your 2 sources, such as Plato's Parable of the Cave. So this is some of the things that we want to be doing in all 3 body paragraphs, in these 3 body paragraphs. So here's an example. All right, so now we're going to look at this. All right, so my first body paragraph, I'm going to talk about the fact that it uses a voiceover. Right, I want to say that the Bass Pro Shop commercial uses a voiceover to establish their ethos, to maintain their ethos, their identity, right? To maintain their identity, they are using a voiceover. All right. So, and then I'm going to talk about how and why. Like, why? Why does the band's voiceover evoke emotion? How does it evoke emotion? What voice does it remind me of? Can I bring in the philosopher who saved the man from the cave, right? Can we blend that? Can we talk about, Plato warned us, Plato Plato's warning was there far before the Bass Pro Shop commercial. Can I bring anything? And then I have a blend. So here is that blend, and I'm going to take it back to, I'm sorry I have to switch screens, but I'm going to take it back to that MLA requirement. So here we have the voiceover that states, nature is calling us like never before, reiterates Patak's discovery, finding moments of peace and serenity becomes essential for our mental well-being, right? So I took, excuse me, one thing that a specific example that the voiceover said, and I related it to its completely different sources. I have two sources going on here, right? So again, so think about this. Again, it's hard to share two screen. It's hard, I can't really share two screens. So I'm gonna come back here. I'm going to share the screen with here again. So my specific, and you can print it out if you want to have it in front of you, but I end mid-sentence because I say, while the Bass Pro Shop commercial reminds us that I ended it mid-sentence. I have a specific example, right? I have at least one blend. I've used some big signal verbs. So if I just have that one blend, I can check a lot of these boxes, at least in the two boxes. And as long as it goes along with the works cited page also, then I can check off a lot of those. So I want to look at ends mid-sentence. It has a specific example that it is at least one blend example. That's 20 points right there. We're going to talk about what is signal verbs. All right. So let's go back to this document. And again, the voiceover that states, nature is calling us like never before. That is a quote. The voiceover that states, nature is calling us like never before. I have a quote, nature is calling us like never before. That is straight out of the Bass Pro Shop commercial, and I have it, the in-text citation is done correctly, right? So here's the quote, and here's where I got the quote. I got it from the Bass Pro Shop. It ends mid-sentence. It has a comma. I don't have the in-text citation is not only at the end of the sentence, because that is where this in-text citation belongs. So what I'm doing is I have two different sources and I'm making them blend into one source, making them talk to one another, right? So that's my blend right there. I can check off a whole lot of boxes. It ends mid-sentence, right? My quote ended mid-sentence. It's not at the end of the sentence. I have that signal verb, states, not a very good signal verb, but states. Reiterates is a good one. Actually, that's my signal verb. It reiterates Patak's discovery, right? That's actually my verb there. States and then reiterates. While it states, it reiterates. The voiceover that states. It's actually the voiceover reiterates Patak's. I can just put the voiceover. Yeah, I need that actually. Never mind. I'm trying to get just reiterates, but reiterates here is a really good strong verb. That's that signal verb. That's the signal verb where I say, hey, somebody is talking, somebody is reiterating, somebody is stating something. But states and reiterates are both signal verbs to show that somebody is talking. All right, so there's that voiceover. So what I want to talk about is found in all three. So if we have our original draft, and now we want to expand our original draft, we want to make sure that we have a blend going on. We want to make sure that we're bringing to the story that I talked about up here, this fishing with my grandfather. I began with the story. I'm going to end every body paragraph going back to that fishing story, going back to how and I felt and all that. So what scenery does it remind me of? That's that body two. What was my response to the cultural issues that the commercial alludes to? Right, how and why. So I'm going to keep on bringing my introduction back into, let's see. Let's go insert. Let's see if I can do this. Insert a line. Insert. Maybe I can insert a shape. Is there just like a half a circle? Or yeah, that'll work right there. So there we go. Body one. I'm going to insert it here. So that fishing with my grandfather, I want to bring it back in every single time. I want to bring it back in to, we're going to bring it back into body 2, right? So fishing with my grandfather, I've introduced it in the introduction. I'm bringing it back into body 2. So not only am I talking about the Bass Pro Shop commercial and why and how does it evoke emotion with scenery? Why and how does it evoke emotion with the voiceover? How do I personally relate to that scenery? How does it, what emotion am I going to discuss with myself? Because this advertisement argument is arguing how a commercial uses my emotion to sell their product, to build up their ethos. So I need to be going into my emotion. I need to be going into my stories, right? What scenery does it remind me of? How can I keep bringing my emotion and my stories back into these, right? What is my response to what was going on? And on top of that, I need to be bringing in my sources. So I brought in a source here, Patak. There's one. I actually have 3 sources going on, or 2 sources going on here. I have my Nature is Calling Us. I have my Bass Pro Shop commercial, and I have my academic source commercial here also. And I can take a moment and work in the song too. Let me stop sharing and pause this. All right, so hopefully I kind of grasped that here. Take a look at, so here's where I also have the song. I didn't put in a specific quote from the song because I didn't want to take too much time. But look at this. Here we have scenery. The Bass Pro Shop commercial and Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan have shared memories of camping and nature. They are both part of my identity. The Bass Pro Shop is part of my identity. Something in the Orange is part of my identity because this is who I am. And that scenery, right? We have the same scenery in the commercial that we do in the song. They are both part of who I am, right? So I can bring in this commercial or the song also, and I would like a specific quote from the song, Something in the Orange, where it says like, take me back dancing or whatever, is what I would put in the scenery, or maybe a the orange glowing from the sunshine, or the truck driving away, also alludes to the Bass Pro Shop commercial, sun shining. Like it all has the orange glowing in the Bass Pro Shop, as well as the orange glowing in the Something in the Orange, right? So they have a shared identity. They have, what they have in common is me. What they have in common are my likes, my interest, who I am. So I can bring that in also in here. All right, so that's how you expand. I'm going to put some notes down here, 1, 2, 3, how to expand from your first draft to your shared draft. We're going to expand that, and then I'll upload this along with this video. Hopefully it's not incredibly long. All right, so let's talk about these 3. This is what I want to, don't hear anything else. Where am I at? Don't hear anything else, hear this. So to expand from the draft to the final, blend 2 sources and explain that blend. So here I have my 2 sources and explain that. I'm right here. So the voiceover that states nature is calling us like never before reiterates Patak's discovery, finding moments of peace and serenity become essential for our mental well-being. What do I mean by that? Why did I say that? So blend, at least one blend 2 sources and explain the blend. Use a lot of personal relation to support your points. This essay asks, how does the commercial use your emotions? So tell me when and how it's using your emotions, your memories. You know, what would you say about that? Use specific examples a lot. Be very specific. I get really, most students have, most of their grades are taken off, especially from this essay, because they don't get specific. They don't use, they have a general claim that they have this like general claim that the Bass Pro Shop commercial uses scenery. Okay, great. It uses scenery to evoke emotion. But then they never go into like, how does it evoke my emotion? How does that scenery, what does it make me think of? Why does it make me think that Bass Pro Shop, you know, cares about outdoorsy families? Am I the outdoorsy family? Right? So make sure that we're using a lot of personal relation, and make sure we're using a lot of specific examples. All right, so relate, use specific examples, blend your sources, have a couple sources, and I'll keep looking at them. So again, hopefully this isn't incredibly long. And if you have any questions, let me know, and we're going to keep on looking at them for this week. Try to have them done by Monday, but if they're not done by Monday, that's okay. There is some wiggle room where it can take one more week. A lot of students probably will be done by Monday, and we'll be able to move on to the next assignment. And so if that's you, that's fine. But if you're still taking another week, there is a little bit of wiggle room with that due date. All right, take care.